Hey everybody, I'm here to talk about Wonder Woman 1984. This is a new movie that just released on December 25th. It's released on a different kind of schedule than they usually are. This time being released as a $30 movie that you can rent at home while also going to watch it in theaters, and then it will be released later on as a regular movie for rental. So I watched it last night, Christmas Day, and it is basically not as good as the first one. It's actually quite a bit of a drop off. The two villain thing does not work. They spend not enough time on either villain, and it ends up being convoluted and not fleshed out. Cheetah is supposed to be an iconic villain for Wonder Woman, and it's barely talked about. Her motivation is basic. It's something that's already been done before, jealousy. It's been done a lot, and it's already been worn out. But they still use that as the main focus for why she became Cheetah. Maxwell Lord is someone that you don't really know about unless you follow the comics, and he wasn't a popular villain that I was aware of, but his story with the Wish Stone, which was briefly mentioned in the trailer, is very convoluted. He has a plot, but you don't know much about it because he doesn't have any conspirators, so there's no exposition explaining what he's doing until later on in the movie. The romance between Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, that works well, but it feels like they deliberately made that section longer just because of the chemistry between the two actors, and that drags on the first hour. It's just a slow-paced movie. It's 2.5 hours long, and most of it is focused on this love story. And that's about it. Like, the villains aren't fleshed out. There's not as much action. The story itself, there's not much to it. The climax is kind of anticlimactic. The resolution for the two villains is not very satisfying. There's less humor. There's less epic moments. There's no the No Man's Land moment where she fights in No Man's Land, and also the sniper tower. There's no moments like that. Themyscira barely gets visited, just for like one scene that doesn't really matter. Like, yes, she learns a lesson, but it's something she could have learned in a couple of minutes. So overall, it's definitely not as good as the first one. The first one is something that you can watch over and over. This one, I wouldn't pay $30 for it unless you're watching in a large group. It's not worth it. There's very little epic moments, like I said. Not as much action. Gal Gadot, Chris Pine are good. Pedro Pascal, Kristen Wiig are kind of wasted. They just don't get enough for their roles. They're not fleshed out enough, and the movie focuses way too much on the love story, where that seems to be the only chemistry in the movie. Overall, it's above average. There are some good special effects, there are some good action scenes, they're just not as good as the first one. But it's definitely not worth going in theaters, especially now with COVID and everything going on. It's too risky and not worth this risk. And it's not worth paying $30 to see at home. Wait till it's cheaper, or wait until it's safer to go back into theaters. So that's Wonder Woman 1984, starring Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Pedro Pascal, and Kristen Wiig, directed by Patty Jenkins. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, or all the above. Thank you, and have a nice day.